The British sandwich has been replaced by a cellophane triangle. That is not a sandwich. That is a filing system for ingredients. It is designed to be stacked, transported, scanned at a till, and eaten at a desk without touching the sides of your mouth. It has a barcode and a use-by date. It was made by someone who has never met you. The sandwich your grandmother made had none of those things. It had bread, filling, and the knowledge of who was going to eat it and when. Nora Fenwick, County Durham, 1962. She packed her husband's baked tin every morning at 5:30 for 30 years. Same tin, different sandwich. Not one of those sandwiches appears on any menu in Britain today. Number 22 on this list was the standard baked tin sandwich across the Durham coalfield for 3 decades. Number 14 costs less than 30 pence to make. Number 1 is Nora's. Subscribe before we start. The cellophane triangle killed 30 sandwiches. This list counts them back in. Number 30. Dripping and brown sauce on white. Nora made this every Monday. Same bread, same dripping, same brown sauce, same tin. 30 years without variation. Not because she lacked imagination, because this was correct and she knew it. Thick cut white bread. Yesterday's loaf if available. Cold beef dripping from the jar. The dark jelly from the bottom spread first, before the pale fat on top. A generous stripe of Yorkshire brown sauce. Second slice pressed firmly down. The dripping is cold and slightly savory. The brown sauce hits the back of the throat immediately. Salt and vinegar and something almost smoky. The dripping provided the calories a man needed underground for 4 hours. The brown sauce provided the only luxury the tin contained. Together they provided the evidence that someone had thought about you before you were awake. The pits closed. The baked tin closed with them. The sandwich had nowhere left to go. Number 29. Potted meat and mustard on white. The Milltown packed lunch. Made on Friday, eaten through the week, never once considered a compromise. Strong potted beef from the butcher, spread thick on white bread. Not scraped, spread. English mustard applied to the second slice, only so the meat does not slide when the sandwich is pressed. Dense, slightly spiced, with a chew that a paste could never have. The mustard hides behind the first bite and arrives on the second. The bread has enough body to hold everything for 4 hours in a paper bag without going soft. Nora's mother worked the wool combing sheds in Bradford in the 1930s and ate this every day of her working life. She called it a proper sandwich. She meant it had substance. She was right. Supermarkets withdrew potted meat through the 1980s. It required skill to slice. Skill was expensive. Margins were not. Number 28. Chip butty with vinegar. There is a window. Everyone who grew up eating a chip butty knows the window. Approximately 60 seconds after the bread is pressed down on the chips and before the steam has softened the bread past recovery. In that window, it is perfect. After that window, it is still very good. But the window is the point. Fresh chips from the chip shop, still hot, tipped directly into a white barm cake in Lancashire, a batch in the Midlands, a roll in the south. The regional debate about the bread type has never been resolved and should not be. Salt before the lid, vinegar after. The vinegar steam rises when the bread closes over the chips. The bread compresses. Everything is slightly too hot. You eat it too quickly. Nora made chip butties on Friday evenings when her husband came home from the night shift. She was already back from the chip shop before the chips had stopped steaming. Number 27. Bloater paste and cucumber on white. Norfolk and Suffolk coastal communities did not buy bloater paste as a treat. It sat on the shelf next to the Marmite, and nobody remarked on it because it was simply there, as it had always been. White bread, medium cut. Bloater paste, spread generously, not scraped. Cucumber sliced as thin as a knife allows. Second slice pressed firmly on, cut on the diagonal, eaten cold, smoky, deeply savory, faintly sweet from the cure. The cucumber is cold and watery and cuts through the intensity of the paste immediately. The bread holds everything together for approximately 8 minutes before the cucumber begins to soften it. There is a window here too. Between 1990 and 2005, bloater paste was removed from major supermarket ranges. Category rationalization. The category manager decided it was not modern enough. The paste was not consulted. Number 26. Beef dripping with salt on a doorstep, not a slice. A doorstep, cut from the end of a white loaf at least an inch thick. The thickness is structural, not generous. Thinner bread cannot support the dripping without tearing. Cold beef dripping. The dark jelly from the bottom of the jar spread first. Salt applied immediately while the dripping is still cold. Second slice pressed down hard. The dripping is cold and pale at the surface and darker and more savory at the base. The salt draws the fat slightly. The bread is dense enough to require proper chewing. The whole thing tastes of a kitchen that has been cooking since Sunday. The fat reduction campaigns of the 1980s repositioned dripping as dangerous. The sandwiches built on it were collateral damage of a dietary guideline the science has since substantially revised. The dripping was not the problem. Number 25. Marmite and cream cheese on brown. This sandwich has no regional home. It belongs to everyone who ever stood at a kitchen counter at lunchtime and understood that Marmite and cream cheese together are considerably greater than either alone. Brown bread, medium cut. Cream cheese spread generously on one slice. Marmite scraped very thin across the other. The two must not mix before the sandwich is assembled. The layering matters. The cream cheese is cool and dense. The Marmite is salt and umami and something almost mineral. Together they create a flavor simultaneously rich and sharp and deeply satisfying. Neither ingredient achieves this independently. London office workers made this through the 60s and 70s. Retired women in the home counties ate it for lunch with a cup of tea for 3 decades. The supermarket has never produced a convincing version of this sandwich. It has not stopped trying. Number 24. Fried egg and brown sauce on white brown sauce, not ketchup. This distinction matters more than it should, and anyone who has eaten both versions will understand immediately why. White bread, thick cut, toasted on one side only. The untoasted side faces the egg. One egg fried flat in butter, yolk broken in the pan and cooked through. Brown sauce applied before the second slice goes on and before the yolk has any chance to run. The egg is flat and slightly crisp at the edges. The yolk is set, but still slightly yielding when pressed. The brown sauce is warm from the heat of the egg. The bread compresses. The whole thing is slightly too hot and eaten too quickly, and it is better for both of those facts. Nora made this on Saturday mornings. It was the only sandwich of the week that was not packed in a tin. Number 23. Corned beef and pickle on white. Corned beef was not a budget ingredient after rationing ended in 1954. It was a preferred ingredient. This distinction was quietly reversed over the following 30 years without anyone making a formal announcement. Tinned corned beef, sliced thin with a wet knife to prevent sticking. White bread, medium cut. Branston pickles spread to every edge so the last bite is not dry. Dense and slightly grainy. The cold fat of the corned beef renders as you chew. The pickle is sweet and dark and faintly sticky. The bread holds everything without collapsing. This sandwich travels well and tastes exactly the same at 3 in the afternoon as it did at noon. The corned beef did not change. The marketing did. Someone decided it was an inferior product. It was not an inferior product. Number 22. Pit bait, cheese and raw onion. This is Nora's sandwich, twice a week for 30 years. The most commonly packed colliery sandwich across the Durham and Northumberland coalfield. Strong cheddar, thickly cut. Raw white onions sliced as thin as a knife allows. White bread, thick cut, no butter. The moisture from the raw onion provides all the lubrication required over a 4-hour shift underground, wrapped tightly in greaseproof paper and pressed under the weight of the tin lid until eaten. The cheese is sharp and crumbly. The raw onion is present from the moment the paper is unwrapped, before the first bite is taken. The bread has compressed under the lid. The sandwich is smaller than it started. It is also better. The Durham colliery closures between 1984 and 1993 eliminated this sandwich's entire cultural context in less than a decade. The pit closed. The bait tin closed with it. In 1980, the British sandwich market was worth approximately £300 million, dominated by sandwiches made at home and carried in tins and paper bags. By 2000, the market had grown to £6 billion, driven almost entirely by pre-packaged products. In the same period, the variety of sandwiches made in British homes declined significantly while supermarket formats multiplied. The supermarket formats are variations of 12 base combinations. The home sandwiches that disappeared during this period numbered in the hundreds. Nobody counted them. Nobody thought to. Number 21. Sardine and tomato on white. The Cornish did not consider this a budget sandwich. They considered it dinner. The distinction matters and has never been adequately explained to anyone who did not grow up near the coast. Tinned sardines in tomato sauce, spread directly onto white bread, sauce and all. The sauce is not drained. The sauce is the point. A fresh tomato slice on top if one is within reach. White pepper before the second slice goes on. The tomato sauce soaks into the base bread over the course of the morning, and the base bread becomes the best part. The sardines are soft and break apart easily. The pepper ties everything together. The sardine was repositioned as a budget ingredient through the 70s and 80s. Once the ingredient was repositioned, the sandwich followed. The nutritional profile did not change. The marketing did. The coast noticed, but was not consulted. Number 20. Banana and sugar on white. When bananas returned after wartime rationing in 1951, British children ate them in sandwiches, not as an exotic novelty, as a proper lunch. The banana and sugar sandwich was not a childish thing. It was the correct response to a fruit that had been absent for 6 years. White bread, medium cut, buttered, 1 banana sliced thin, white sugar sprinkled across the slices, second slice pressed down. The sugar dissolves slightly into the banana moisture over 10 minutes. Eaten fresh, it is crunch and softness. Eaten 10 minutes later, it is entirely soft and considerably sweeter. Nora made banana and sugar sandwiches for her children on Saturdays when the market had bananas. She never made them on weekdays. Saturday was for bananas. The distinction was not arbitrary, it was the point. Number 19. Beef paste and watercress on brown. The watercress is not a garnish, it is the transformation. Without it, you have a beef paste sandwich. With it, you have something that could only have been assembled by someone who understood what watercress does to everything it touches. Brown bread, medium cut. Beef paste spread generously. Fresh watercress laid on top without pressing, so the leaves stay upright against the paste. Second slice. The watercress must not wilt before the sandwich is eaten. The beef paste is dense and savory. The watercress is cold, peppery, and slightly bitter. Together they create a contrast so precise it could have been engineered. The best version is eaten standing at the kitchen counter within 5 minutes of assembly. The WI Sandwich Guide of 1958 recommended beef paste and watercress as the cucumber and cress alternative for summer picnics. They were not wrong. Number 18. Spam and mustard on white spam was not a wartime compromise. It was a genuinely preferred sandwich filling for 15 years after the war ended, and the people who repositioned it as a joke were not the people who had been eating it. They were the people who arrived later and decided it was embarrassing. Spam sliced thin. White bread, medium cut, no butter. English mustard on one slice only. The spam provides all the fat the sandwich requires. Butter is genuinely redundant here. The spam is dense and slightly sweet with a cold fat that renders as you chew. The mustard cuts through immediately. The combination is more satisfying than its reputation suggests. And its reputation was shaped by people who stopped eating it at the wrong time. Spam was repositioned as a joke through the 70s and 80s. The joke was not nutritional, it was social. The sandwich did not fail. The cultural context around it was dismantled deliberately. Number 17. Kipper paste on toast. A kipper produces more than one meal. The fish for breakfast, the paste for the sandwich that follows. Scottish households understood this and used it without ceremony. Both slices toasted, both buttered while hot. Kipper paste, made from the poached flesh of a smoked kipper, mashed with butter and a small amount of lemon juice, spread generously on one slice while still warm. Second slice of toast pressed on immediately. The paste blooms against the hot butter in a way it never does against cold bread. The smoke of the kipper is present from the moment the sandwich is assembled. The lemon cuts through. The toast provides crunch for approximately 60 seconds. There is a window. Eat in the window. The commercial kipper paste market collapsed through the 1980s. The homemade version declined with the habit of keeping kippers in the kitchen as a routine rather than a special ingredient. Number 16. Cheese and onion crisps on white. This sandwich was invented and reinvented independently in every school lunch hall in Britain between approximately 1965 and 1995. No one taught it. Everyone arrived at it by the same logic. Crisps are good. Bread is good. Pressing crisps into bread and eating before the crunch is gone is better than both. White bread, medium cut, buttered. One bag of cheese and onion crisps tipped in and distributed evenly. Second slice pressed down with the flat of the hand, eaten immediately. The crisps crunch loudly on the first bite. By the third bite, they have softened into the bread. The cheese and onion flavor is present throughout. The sandwich is better than it has any right to be. Nora tried one in 1978 at her grandchildren's insistence. She said nothing further on the subject. Her silence was the review. Number 15. Sardine and salad cream on brown. This sandwich tastes more refined than its ingredients suggest. It always has. The people who dismissed it never ate a properly made version. The people who ate a properly made version never dismissed it. Brown bread, medium cut, tin sardines in brine, drained and mashed with a fork until the bones are fully incorporated. Salad cream mixed through until the filling holds together. The salad cream is not optional. It is the binder and the flavor carrier simultaneously. Pale pink and faintly creamy, slightly briny from the sardines. The salad cream gives sharpness that plain mayonnaise cannot replicate. On brown bread, the whole thing tastes considerably more deliberate than the effort involved. The WI East Anglia branch records from 1956 list sardine and salad cream as a standard packed lunch recommendation for women's group outings. Not a compromise. A recommendation. Number 14. Egg mayonnaise on white. The supermarket egg mayonnaise sandwich contains approximately 40% less egg than the homemade version. It is held together with modified starch. It costs £3.50. The home version costs 30 pence, takes 5 minutes, and is better in every measurable way. This is not an opinion. It is an ingredient comparison. White bread, medium cut. One hard-boiled egg mashed with a fork, not smooth. Real full-fat mayonnaise. Salt, white pepper. The texture should be rough. If it spreads like paste, it has been overmixed. Pale yellow, slightly lumpy, cool. On white bread, it softens the surface immediately and stays cool throughout. The pepper is on every bite. The yolk gives a richness no commercial version replicates because no commercial version uses enough yolk. The homemade version has been available to every British household since mayonnaise entered the kitchen. The supermarket version arrived later and charged more for less, 16 sandwiches down. Everyone made by someone who knew the bread, the filling, and the person eating it. The cellophane triangle knows none of these things and was never designed to. Number 13. Tongue and mustard on white. The supermarket refused to stock pressed tongue because slicing it required skill they were unwilling to maintain at the counter. The sandwich that required a skilled counter hand was replaced by products that required only a scanner. This was called progress. Cold-pressed ox tongue from the deli counter, sliced thin enough to be slightly translucent. White bread, medium cut. English mustard scraped on one slice. Nothing else. Dense, slightly gelatinous at the very edges, deeply savory throughout. The mustard arrives immediately. The bread provides structure without competing. The whole sandwich tastes of something serious and honest. Ox tongue is more nutrient-dense per gram than fillet steak. It costs a fraction of the price. The deli counter that stocked it has mostly gone. The sandwich went with the counter, not because the filling failed, because the skill that prepared it was considered too expensive to keep. Number 12. Tomato and sugar on white. There is a 3-minute window. In that window, the butter has prevented the tomato juice from saturating the bread. The sugar has begun dissolving into the tomato, and everything is exactly as it should be. After 3 minutes, the bread softens. The sandwich is still good, but the window is better. White bread, medium cut, buttered, ripe garden tomatoes sliced thin, white sugar, a small pinch, salt if preferred, second slice pressed on. The tomato is cold at the center and warm at the edges. The sugar draws the juice out slightly and intensifies the sweetness. The butter buys the 3 minutes. Use them. Nora grew tomatoes in her back garden from 1965. She made tomato and sugar sandwiches every August. She said the sugar was not sweet, it was just correct. Number 11. Peanut butter and banana on brown. A generation of British children combined these two ingredients in the 1970s and were told they were being odd. They were not being odd. They had arrived independently at a correct conclusion about flavor pairing that required no validation from anyone. Brown bread, medium cut. Peanut butter, standard variety. Banana sliced thin, not thick. Thick slices create structural instability that causes the banana to slide when the sandwich is pressed. Thin slices stay in place. The peanut butter is dense and slightly sticky. The banana is soft and faintly sweet. Together they produce a filling, more sustaining than either alone and more interesting than either alone. The brown bread ties it without competing. Peanut allergy awareness from the 1990s removed peanut butter from school lunch contexts where it had been unremarkable for 20 years. The sandwich became controversial without changing at all. Number 10. Gentleman's relish on toast. This sandwich has survived since 1828 through sheer stubbornness and the loyalty of the people who eat it. It does not advertise, it does not modernize, it does not explain itself to anyone who asks. Both slices toasted, both buttered while hot. Gentleman's relish applied to one slice only. Extremely thin, this is not negotiable. Too much, and the sandwich becomes aggressive. The correct amount is the amount that makes people ask what they are eating after the first bite. Salt and anchovy and something herbal and faintly spiced. The butter softens the impact. The toast provides crunch. The combination is unlike anything else on this list. It has been produced continuously by the same British manufacturer since 1828. It survived both world wars. It survived rationing. It survived the supermarket revolution. It survived because the people who ate it refused to stop. Number 9. Lemon curd on white. This sandwich exists exclusively at tea time. Not at lunch, not at breakfast, between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, with a cup of tea cut into fingers rather than triangles. It loses its identity entirely outside this context. The context is the sandwich. White bread, medium cut, lightly buttered. Homemade lemon curd, not shop-bought. The shop-bought version does not contain enough lemon or enough butter to produce the correct result. The homemade version is sharp enough to make the mouth water before the first bite. Cut into fingers, not triangles. Fingers are correct for tea time. Triangles are correct for lunch. They are not the same meal. Nora made lemon curd sandwiches every Sunday afternoon for the children. She cut them into fingers. She said triangles were for people who were trying to look smart at lunch. She was not wrong. In 1980, Marks & Spencer launched the pre-packaged sandwich range that became the template for every supermarket sandwich sold in Britain today. 12 fillings, triangular packaging, a 3-day shelf life. Before 1980, the British sandwich was made fresh by someone who knew who was going to eat it. After 1980, it was a product with a barcode, a use-by date, and a margin. The hundreds of regional and domestic sandwiches that existed before were not improved upon. They were made commercially unviable by something easier to stack and scan. The industry called this progress. It was not progress, it was the replacement of knowledge with logistics. Subscribe if this channel is new to you. We go into the commercial decisions that replaced what your grandmother made. Come back every week. Number 8. Mustard cress and egg on brown. A punnet of mustard cress cost a penny and grew on a damp cloth on the kitchen windowsill in 4 days. It was the most economical fresh ingredient available to the British kitchen, and the one that disappeared most quietly when supermarkets began selling it pre-cut in bags at a price that made growing it seem unnecessary. Brown bread, medium cut, hard-boiled egg mashed with butter, not mayonnaise, salt, mustard cress snipped directly from the punnet with scissors into the mixture. The cress must be present in every bite. The egg is rich and dense from the butter. The cress is sharp and peppery and green. The brown bread grounds it. The combination is fresher than a pure egg sandwich and more substantial than a pure cress sandwich. The pre-cut bag version has lower flavor intensity than the fresh-cut punnet. As the flavor declined, so did the sandwich's reason for existing. Number 7. Marmite and butter on white toast. At 5 o'clock every morning, Nora made herself a Marmite toast sandwich before her husband woke. Not the bait tin, not for him, for herself. The one thing in the day that was entirely hers. White bread, toasted, both slices. Butter, cold, applied to hot toast so it melts immediately. Marmite scraped very thin across the butter. Thin, it requires respect. The butter melts into the toast immediately. The Marmite is salt and umami and something almost mineral. The toast provides crunch for approximately 90 seconds before it softens. There is a window. Everyone who has eaten this sandwich knows the window. It must be eaten in the window. This sandwich belongs to everyone who has ever lived alone, or been ill, or been hungry at an unreasonable hour. It requires nothing of you except the presence of a toaster and the knowledge of what thin means. Number 6. Dripping dip sandwich. This is not technically a closed sandwich. It is white bread, torn rather than sliced, dipped directly into warm beef, dripping still liquid in the Sunday roasting tin. The dark jelly from the bottom reached for first. It qualifies because nothing else comes closer to what a sandwich is supposed to be. The torn edge absorbs more dripping than a cut edge. The difference is significant and entirely worth the imprecision. The bread softens immediately on contact with the warm fat. The dark jelly underneath is concentrated beef stock, deeply savory and slightly sticky. The white fat above is milder and richer. Children stood at the stove on Sunday afternoons before the joint was carved. Older women ate it standing at the kitchen counter after the family had gone through to the dining room. The fat reduction campaigns of the 1980s ended this. The guidelines have been revised. The Sunday tin has not returned. Number 5. Potted shrimp in a barm. There is a 90-second window. Cold potted shrimps from a Morecambe Bay pot, turned out onto thick buttered white bread, second slice pressed on immediately before the spiced butter fully melts. In that 90 seconds, everything is cold and warm and rich and slightly sharp simultaneously. White bread, thick cut, buttered. The butter on the bread plus the spiced butter from the shrimps is not too much fat. It is exactly the right amount. The shrimps are cold and firm. The mace and cayenne in the butter are present from the first bite. The spiced fat melts from the heat of the bread. After 90 seconds, the butter has fully melted and the sandwich becomes something different. Still good, not the same thing. The W.I. Lancashire branch records from 1959 document this as a standard picnic preparation, not a luxury, a preparation. Number 4. Welsh rarebit sandwich. Cold slice Welsh rarebit makes 2 meals. The hot version on toast is the main event. The cold slice in a sandwich the following day is the quiet sequel that is, in its own way, better. Nora's Welsh grandmother made both versions. She said the cold one was for people who understood that some things improve overnight. Welsh rarebit, made properly with strong Welsh cheddar, Worcestershire sauce, and English mustard, poured onto toast, left to set completely overnight, sliced cold and placed between 2 slices of unbuttered white bread. The rarebit provides all the fat the sandwich requires, cold and dense and deeply savory. The cheese has set around the Worcestershire and the mustard. Every bite contains all 3 flavors at once. The bread provides structure without competing. This is a serious sandwich. It was made the day before. It has been thinking about you since then. A 2020 study from King's College London examined the nutritional profiles of 100 homemade British sandwiches from the 1960s against 100 pre-packaged sandwiches currently sold in British supermarkets. The homemade sandwiches had higher protein content, lower additive load, lower sugar content, and lower levels of seed oils and emulsifiers. The pre-packaged sandwiches had a longer shelf life, a more consistent appearance, and a higher retail margin. The study's conclusion was direct. The British sandwich declined in nutritional quality in precise correlation with its rise in commercial value. Nora Fenwick's baked tin sandwiches were nutritionally superior to anything currently sold in a British supermarket. She was just making lunch. Number 3. Bloater paste on hot buttered toast, closed. The cold open version appeared earlier. This is the hot closed version. Same paste, completely different character. Both correct, neither superior. Eat them on different days, both slices toasted, both buttered while hot. Bloater paste spread generously on one slice. Second slice of hot toast pressed on immediately. The paste blooms against hot butter in a way it never does against cold bread. The smoke intensifies when it meets the heat. The toast provides crunch for 60 seconds. Eat in the first 60 seconds. The bloater's commercial decline removed this from most British kitchens by the mid-90s, not because it failed, because the fish that made it possible was no longer kept in the kitchen on a Tuesday. Number 2. Chip shop fish cake in a barm, not a bread roll, not a bun, a barm. The distinction is regional, specific, and non-negotiable to anyone from the northwest of England. A chip shop fish cake, the flat potato and fish variety, placed directly into a white barm while still hot. Vinegar before the lid closes. Salt, nothing else. The fish cake is crisp at the edges. The barm absorbs the vinegar immediately. The vinegar steam rises when the lid closes. Eat within 2 minutes or the crispness is gone and the barm goes uniformly soft. There is a window. There is always a window with the best sandwiches on this list. The cellophane triangle has no window. It was designed to have no window. That is not convenience. That is the problem. Number 1. Nora's sandwich. This is the sandwich nobody wrote down. Nora packed her husband's bait tin every morning at 5:30 for 30 years. She made the sandwich before the kitchen was properly light. She wrapped it in greaseproof paper, pressed the lid shut, and left it on the table without waking him. He picked it up on the way out. He ate it underground. She never saw him eat it. The Durham Mining Museum oral histories describe cheese, raw onion, and something else that varies by account. In Nora's household, almost certainly dripping from the Sunday joint. But this is a reconstruction, not a certainty. The pit closed in 1985. She made him a sandwich for lunch for the next 17 years. On a plate now, not in a tin. The sandwich changed. She did not. Some sandwiches are about more than the filling. She always knew that. Pick 3. Make them this week. Chip butty on Friday. Tomato and sugar on Sunday. Cheese and raw onion, bait on Monday. Wrapped in greaseproof paper. Pressed under something heavy for an hour before you eat it. Tell me in the comments the sandwich your grandmother made that is not on this list. Her sandwich, her region, her kitchen. I want those sandwiches. Every sandwich on this list was made by someone who knew the bread, the filling, and the person eating it. That is the definition, not a triangle, not a barcode. Nora knew this at 5:30 every morning for 30 years. The bait tin is still on the shelf. Fill it, subscribe, leave a comment. Come back next week.